Hey everybody, I'm Matt Williamson and this is Pop Goes the 60s. I just started a Patreon subscription and what I was going to do is do a raffle for the first 25 people that were in the $5 tier. I was going to give away one of my albums that never were. And the reaction and the support was so strong. And the first day I had 46 people at that tier. So I decided, well, I'm going to raffle off 2 albums for those 46 people. So the odds went slightly up. So I'm going to do that in a moment here. I've got my entrance right in here. And I'm in the middle of, I'm working on my Jefferson Airplane series right now. That's going to be up in a couple of days. The first one will be anyway. So I'm in the middle of working on that. And I had a little bit of a bad throat. I was losing my voice, so I had to halt my production because I couldn't do the on-camera stuff very well. Anyway, I'm doing okay, and I'm back. So before we do the raffle, I just want to show people some of the things that I'm raffling off. The tier that I have, I've got 2 tiers on the Patreon channel, and I talked about those in the last video, and if you've looked at the link, which I'll have below, you can see some of the things that you're going to get for being a patron. One of the things will be access to the raffles to albums that never were. So let me just show you, I've got 8 albums here. The winners can choose from. So we have 2 lucky winners that'll be able to choose from one of these albums here. So this first one is Beatles 70. I had done 2 albums of Beatle albums that may have come out after Abbey Road, and I really had fun with the design, and I did some videos on these, and you can find them on my channel. But this was the first one I did, and it's obviously a knockoff of the Beatles 65 album cover of the American albums, and it's got liner notes on the back, very corny liner notes that match the Capitol style of liner notes back in the day. And this was a real fun one to do. So that's one of them. The other one is the Beatles' last album, which is based off the design of the Beatles' second album, complete with sepia tone photos and some black and whites on the back. And again, I had to get a little bit creative because the Beatles weren't photographed together after late 1969. So I thought this motif would suits this well. Going back to the same Beatles 65 style, I went with the Beatles 68. So this is the single White Album version that I came up with that focuses on the more poppy songs from that 1968 period, and had a little fun with the Mad Day Out photographs used for that shoot. And that's that one. Now switching slightly here to a different group here. This is Buffalo Springfield's proposed second album, Stampede. This is the album that should have come out, but instead they re-released the first album with For What It's Worth on it. So I go into that in my Buffalo Springfield series a little bit. But this is one album that they actually had the jackets printed up, and I think they were given out to fan club members at the time. But this is a selection of songs that this album may have, the album that may have come out, those are the tracks that may have been on there. Another album here, album never was, is the Hollies. So their album that didn't come out in 1968 is this one. And Graham Nash was with the band the full year of 1968. And they did quite a few recordings, actually. And those were released much later. Some remained unreleased, I believe. But they were released on compilations like in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So anyway, this album is that album that never was, and I call it Wings, after the song that was on the Wildlife Fund album. Here we have Bob Dylan. Now, I'm going to be doing some Dylan topics at some point, and this is one that I may start with, and this is what I call Best of the Basement Tapes. So I'm a Basement Tapes fan, and if you like to go over those kind of bootleg style of recordings, these recordings are a lot of fun. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't care for, but there's a lot of good stuff. And I put 14 of the best tracks on this compilation. So this is one that'll be available for people. If they win, they can choose this one. We have Herman's Hermits. Herman's Hermits had enough material to come out with an album in 1968 and in 1969, but didn't. Their popularity was waning. The singles were charting a little bit in England. They weren't charting anymore in the States. And had they been, I bet those albums would have come out. Well, this is the proposed album for 1968 called The London Look. This is modeled mostly after the EP of the same name. and lots of very cool songs. So the songs on here that we have, songs like Tallyman, Morning Dew, Sleepy Joe, The London Look, Marcel's Love is Blue, and several others. So for you Herman's fans out there, and I know there are many of you, though we don't like to admit it, this might be for you. And finally, we have Laid in Hawaii. This is the Beach Boys album. This is the second Beach Boys album from 1968 that did not come out, the first one being Smile. So this was a live album in Hawaii that was recorded, and I don't know, that maybe they weren't happy with the recordings, but these have been released over time, more recently. But I came up with this compilation, and this design is actually not exactly my design. This was a design, I'm not sure if this was the proposed design or if somebody else did this design. I updated it a bit, but it's got a very cool postcard style look on the back. And some of the hits, plus some of the newer songs like Getting Hungry and Good Vibrations. The song Hawaii, they even do a cover of The Letter. So those are the choices should you be one of the lucky winners. So let's cut to the chase here. And these are the 46 entries. Let's get these mixed up a little bit here. And okay, first one. We have Joe Conwell. Joe, congratulations. You are the first winner here on Pop Goes the 60s, and you will get to choose one of these very fun albums that never were. Congratulations to Joe. Okay, Sleepy Joe. Maybe he's going to go for that Herman's Hermits album. I don't know. Okay, let's go for, see what we got here. Number 2. This is Jeff Mills. Jeff, congratulations. You are the winner of the second album that never was. And what I will be doing is reaching out to each of you personally through Patreon. And we'll get your information and you can let me know which one you're interested in. So that should do it. Anybody else that is interested in joining my Patreon, I'm going to leave the link below. There are other things that I'm going to be giving away, as if you are a member. MP3s, some printable artwork for albums that never were, for CD-sized reproductions. There will be surveys, you'll get videos early, so quite a lot of stuff. And I want to make sure I give you guys something, because I know you're giving me your hard-earned money, and I really appreciate that. So so give it a look. I've got all kinds of information there for you to check out. So that should do it. Again, to my winners, thank you for subscribing, and congratulations. And I hope you guys all have a happy Easter weekend.